Folks, welcome to the Technologist Forum, where we bring you news, updates, and discussions on the latest trends in consumer and enterprise technology. I'm your host, James Hicks from Hicks New Media. Today, I know today's going to be a dope show already because me and my guests have just been chopping it up for like the last 15 minutes already. Uh, Listen, Eden Luce started creating content through sports and lifestyle podcasting back in 2016. Since then, she's expanded her content to include videos, live streaming, consultancy, teaching, and things of that nature. She's passionate about sharing her learnings, her experiences through collaborating and connecting with others. We're going to talk today about the power of the creative mindset. Let's get into it, man. Hey, Lou. Shouts out to your play. Hi, hold on. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great, James. How are you?
Great. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well.
You just kicked off Siri back here when you said, did you hear Siri?
Siri thought I was talking to her.
You know what I'm saying?
It's my energy. She can feel my energy from all the way over here.
I guess so. That's the kind of stream this is going to be. Oh my goodness. Listen, first and foremost, thank you for the time. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I may have coerced you because I told you that this won't be the last time that we actually have this because I can feel the energy, right? I can tell we vibing, and it's not just because Embiid scored 70 points last night and we are fans of that, but
Yes, we are.
we are both on this creative journey. Let me do this though. The majority of my audience, and shouts out to everyone watching on all the platforms, they're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and content creators, which again you live in as well. But if you can give that 35,000 foot level kind of introduction of your story, that would be amazing for folks who may not know who you are.
Sure. So, as James said, I got my start in doing basketball and lifestyle podcasting. I was on shows with guys that were trained professionally in sports radio. So that's why I like to say now, today, I'm a professional silence filler, one of the skills I picked up along the way. And somehow my journey took me to live streaming, video, content creation. And it's just been a constant evolution of always learning. I am always excited to try out new software that can help me with my video workflow, with my content creation, anything that can help me in my planning to editing, all of it. And I just love every bit of it. It's like a logic puzzle, putting all of the pieces together from planning to shooting or streaming to the editing and the repurposing. It's almost like how an orchestra comes together with all of the different instruments. And it's just like magic when you pull off a great show and then you get the content out there, and it's just like you build a cycle, a content cycle that you just rinse, repeat, watch the tape, adjust, get better, and keep going, and then do it in the playoffs, as I like to say.
Okay, we got the sports analogies coming. See, I can tell. I I was waiting for a reaction though when I put you full screen and I had that little Easter egg show up. And I had the little Pikachu. I
My
was
little
waiting.
Pikachu, I saw
I,
it.
I was just looking for a facial reaction on that, but you got a good poker face. Thank you for that information. So let's start there, I guess, with some questions and just some dialogue. And shouts out to everyone in the audience. Keep asking questions and keep engaging. Um, I use the term about getting out of our own way a lot, right? As opposed to just about anything personal and or professional. And I think especially as it relates to us in content creation, getting out of our own way in terms of thinking that we have to have a lot of the latest and greatest of the infrastructure can be powerful. Talk to us a little bit about what your thoughts are when you hear that, right? I mean, we go out and we're doing a lot of on-scene events. We're going out and doing events where we're actually face-to-face collaborating folks, and you don't have to have that latest and greatest camera, microphone, this and that and the thing to actually be creative. What are your thoughts when someone asks you or talks to you about that?
Man, getting out of your own way. I love that phrase because I know I am someone that definitely gets in my own way.
Okay.
So it is something that I always try to keep in mind, just like you were talking about bringing up gear, for
Mhm.
example. So I don't know about you, but we are on our phone. I'm a geriatric millennial. I'm on my phone all the time, right? Like I grew up in the age of like selfies and like recording videos on the phone. And I know it can be tempting when we all have these like really awesome gear. Like, I'm on the A6600 right now. I know you're a Sony guy too. But I've noticed that I feel a different vibe when I have the professional camera in front of me versus
Mm,
when I have my phone camera. And I've noticed that I sometimes have a tendency to try to be more professional when I know there's a professional setup in front of me.
mm.
But sometimes that means too much perfection. That means Eden wants to do 8 takes. 8 take Eden over here wants to say her lines 10 times and get the emphasis on all the right words and the head tilt, the lean in at all the right timings, but the best content sometimes is created in an organic way. Like I
Yeah.
can do that in my studio, but I can't do that at a conference with you when we're just bantering and just having a great conversation. And we're like, hey, maybe we should record this. Like, I feel like the vibe would not be the same if we were shooting on a professional camera versus if we just took out our phones and like shot some more organic style
Yeah.
content.
I mean, I think that's such a great point because literally just this past week, and I posted it somewhere. It may have been a YouTube short or reel or somewhere. And we were talking about this. I was on Stephanie's stream talking about CES. I record all the streams that I do, even when I'm a guest, and I forgot to stop the recording for like 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
So check it out. I'm sitting here again, being organic, and I posted that. I was sitting here eating a bowl of soup. I was watching Club Shay Shay. I was sitting here cracking up to myself. And I said, again, that being in the moment, that not worrying about or not even knowing that I had cameras on, that right there has gotten a ton of engagement. Just again, me showing up, posting a piece of content that actually enlightens, entertains, or educates. And that I think that definitely entertained because I looked kind of crazy as I was eating my bowl of soup. But long story short, right? When we get it out of our way and we don't worry about the infrastructure, we don't worry about the stuff, and just start talking amongst each other and telling stories and engaging and looking each other in the eye, all of those things, that's really where the magic happens. I think the production
I
piece comes later.
totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I love what you said about it's that in-person magic kind of.
Hmm.
Because so for example, like I'm fully remote, I work remote. All of our creator friends are all over the place. So I really only get to see my creator friends in person like two or three times a year is a lot,
Yeah.
if at a conference or something. And I'm going to bring up getting in my own way again because sometimes I get caught up in wanting to be present in the moment
Mm.
and being like fully present and just like I don't even want to have my phone in my hand sometimes. And just really making sure that I am working on cultivating those relationships and getting to just spend time with the people that I interact with so much online. And the thing is, I can have both. I can have both. I
Talk a little bit
can
about
have the
that.
phone out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about that.
Well, I think part of it is reps, right? So to be honest, I don't create a lot of content outside of my house. Like
Mm.
I do a lot of little videos like in my room just talking sort of I like to do little book reviews. I like to be like, I just read this book and here's a little 15-second summary of what I liked about it and why you should or shouldn't read it. And I'm very comfortable when it's just me and the phone in when I'm recording content on my own, but I feel like I haven't had enough reps in doing that out in the wild when I'm with other people. I guess sometimes in my head I feel like it might be rude to, bust out the phone because there's the thing where it's like no phones at the dinner table. Everyone wants to like just really focus on the interactions that are at hand. But that's something that I want to improve this year. I want to get better at feeling natural about pulling out my phone and starting to record when I'm having a great conversation with someone, when we have like stories that we're telling
Mm.
that could be really useful for other people to hear. But I think it's about building those muscles. It's about getting the reps in to the point where it feels natural to just be like, hey, this is a great conversation. How do you feel about recording it? Like, it's okay to bring it up. It's not rude. But I think that's a little bit of a mental blocker that I have sometimes is that I'm not sure what the right timing is, or if it's okay to just be like, oh, hey, y'all want to just record some content, which is silly if we're all in a room of
Yeah.
creators, you
Okay.
know?
So I'm putting the whole runner show to the side now because now we're gonna pivot. Now we're gonna get to it. Right. I mean, someone who's been in the game like you have again since 2016, either audio or video content curation. It's interesting to hear, and it's actually refreshing to hear that you still have some of that intimidation. I don't even know if it's intimidation, but that hesitation, right, in terms of wanting to put something out. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is where I come from when I hear that. And let me know what you think as well. There's a lot of stuff out there already. There's a lot of noise out there, right? And I'm really trying to, every time I do press record, turn these lights on, or whatever the case may be, make sure that it rise above that noise. And it, again, provides some value in terms of enlightening, entertaining, and educating. I've got that etched in my brain. Those three statements right there, those are part of my mission. And is that part of some of the intimidation, hesitation, withdrawal that you may have in terms of just pushing something out? Because I noticed that you're, and I'm not going to put all your business out there, but I noticed that you're free, or you're comfortable with putting out your progress as you're training, right? And you're from a healthy lifestyle perspective. But when it comes to talking and dialoguing and sharing information, what is it that actually stops you from that piece? This is
It's,
like, this is a little therapy session for both of us.
yeah,
Let's get into it.
I'll be perfectly honest. It's a perfection thing. It's the getting
Okay.
in my own way about wanting to be perfect. Um, Even those little book review videos I just mentioned, I get the information in there in one take, but I'm doing 3 more takes just to like smooth out the sentences and make sure that I get it presented how I want, which is fine when I'm on my own, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how it works when you're having a conversation with someone. You can't be like, "Oh, wait, let me say that sentence one more time because I want it to look better when I post this later." You know? So, and it's not like my sentences don't make sense or anything. I just
Yeah.
get caught up in wanting to make sure I am presenting information in the most perfectly flowing way possible, I guess.
That makes sense.
But
But
can I add on to that a little
come on,
bit?
girl. Come on. Let's get into it, because I'm about to listen. We about to go deeper into this conversation. Go ahead.
The thing I wanted to add is that that's what I love about live streaming, is that I only get one take.
There you go. That's where I was going.
I'm
Yeah.
on this show with you right now. I'm not going to get to say my takes 3 or 4 times to get it perfectly right in the way I want. And to be honest, like while I do live streams, I don't do them enough. I don't have as many reps as I would like to have. So that's something that I'm building up. And I've started to game stream on Twitch on weekends just to get a few extra reps in that are not any, it's not work related, it's not content creation related. It's like silly, it's fun, it's organic, but it's a rep. I'm
Yeah.
getting a rep in. I'm getting a rep in. I'm getting to talk to my friend and hang out and do some gaming content. And I think that in the long run, that's really going to help me get more and more comfortable at the organic content in person, in real life also.
That's perfect, because that's literally where I kind of wanted to steer the conversation and steer the statements, because the community, I don't think, matters. I think the community would prefer us to show that we're not an automated machine, that we actually do mess up. I actually look forward to something going wrong. So one, that gives me the experience of knowing, if the camera goes out, the lights go out, if the internet fluctuates or whatever, that I can actually work through that particular issue. But I think it also shows that, we're human, we're out here doing this, we're trying to bring value. As long as the message resonates, again, the production stuff is all, this is all smoke and mirrors. But as long as this conversation between me and Eden kind of resonates with just 1 or 2 people, and it seems like it is, I'm looking at the comments, that's what matters. So I really like the fact that you said, doing more live streaming. And this really also is part of my training. This is a muscle that I'm exercising all the time, making sure that I get in front of different people, have different conversations, and make sure that I get better each and every time that I make this thing happen. So that's good stuff.
And actually, so as we're talking about being like more organic in the moment in live streaming, Doc, our friend Doc Rock, actually called me out today on his show because I had posted a yoga handstand, a forearm stand yesterday,
Mhm.
and in the caption, I had said I actually cursed a lot in the take before this because I was like really frustrated. I like tried to give a little behind the scenes insight into what I was feeling, and Doc was like, "Eden, you should have just shared the clip of you falling out of it and cursing yourself out. Like
I was
that's."
going to say the same thing because I could. Yeah, I think he may be my left brain and might be the right brain because I was going to end with that. So cool.
So that's something that I want to get better at doing. It's I know what's holding me back. It's me getting in my own way. I feel like I want to show people my best take,
Mm,
but that's actually not what builds trust and rapport as strongly as if I share one of my less good takes, because people can we all have bad takes in everyday life, like whether it's, sometimes we slip up when just ordering McDonald's, we sometimes we say our order wrong, but we got to just like brush it off. It's all part of life, and I feel like that's something that I can work on, is coming off as just like, I don't have to come off perfect.
yeah.
It's part of the I was raised with like Asian immigrant parents that put a lot of pressure on me to always be perfect. But I recognize that now. And so it's something now that I feel like I really want to put active effort into working on, and just showing more of the takes that aren't as good as I wanted to share.
Look at it. Look, yeah, see, I didn't know this was going to be kind of again that therapeutic couch for both of us. So Eden and I are, but that's good stuff. And appreciate these comments. I saw what Michael was saying. Thanks for being candid about the approach to get comfortable going live instead of being recorded and spending tons of time post editing. And that's what it's all about. I mean, and again, I think not just in live streaming, I'm trying to find some life lessons here as well. Yeah, we're talking about primary folks that are digital creators and things of that nature, but in any engagement, in any interaction, know your material, right? Know what you got to say. Talk with confidence. Talk with understanding, and know your messaging. But don't be hesitant in terms of actually getting out there in front of the room and what I call doing the jazz hands, right? I talk with my hands a lot. So don't be shy and nervous about that, especially when you are a subject matter expert. Eden, you are a subject matter expert in terms of, again, content creation, sharing and communicating with communities, the gaming videos that you put out, the yoga posts. If I was to try to do one of those yoga posts, listen, that would be comedy for days. That would,
No, it's not comedy. It would
I
be all part of the journey. It would be
listen.
all part of your
I can
yoga
get you on a
journey.
squat rack. I can get you on a squat rack, but I
Hey,
can't
let's
get
do it.
you.
Let's
I
do
can't
it.
get you on a yoga post though. I love it.
No, I gotta shout out my guy Brusco that says 1% less worse. That's actually one of my mottos, is you don't have to be 50% better every time you do something. You can
Mm,
just improve by a little bit each time. You can just be 1% less worse than you were yesterday, and that's still growth. That's still you improving and moving forward. So I could think there's a lot of pressure for a lot of creators to want to grow their channels really quickly, to incorporate a lot of really cool technologies into their streams or into their content, to really feel like they're leveling up by a lot every single time. It's okay to take it one step at a time. It's okay to just be 1% less worse than you were last time.
man, I'm. Hey, Bruce, you all right if I got a merch store? You all right if I take that 1% less worse? If I give you like 5% finder's fee. If I can put that on some hoodies, listen, it'll be available in like 2 hours. So hit us up in the chat, man. If I can use that right there, y'all think I'm playing. You see, I'm wearing the chief everything officer right now. That 1%, what is it? 1% less worse? Yeah, that
Yeah,
ain't.
1% less worse.
I need
I just wore my Jump Shot University shirt
I need to
because
get
I
you
know
on some
because I
swag
know
on some
James.
merch.
Yeah, I need some of that merch. I need some of
Yeah.
that merch for
Well,
sure.
y'all see the promo code down there as well, 15% off in the store. And there's a little plug there for your boy. Okay, let me stop. Um, Let me ask you this, because you mentioned something as well, and again, forget the notes, but I'll get to them eventually. But um, the point of following and trying to be like or emulate others that are in the game as well, folks that have been in the game for a long period of time. Folks, listen, there are no overnight successes when it comes to anything worthwhile. You see the folks who have the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers on their channel. Some of them are real. Okay, I'm not bad, man.
Are we going there? Are we
No,
going there?
I'm not. I'm not going there. I'm not. But let me talk about that. So again, trying to compare yourself to folks who have been in the industry, in the game for a long period of time, and how detrimental that can be for a lot of new creators. So, and a lot of us talk to folks who are just getting started, just getting their feet wet, just understanding some of this infrastructure, just knowing how to use their DSLRs or their mirrorless or their phones as a camera, that kind of thing. And then they start trying to compare themselves to a Marquez Browley who's been doing this since he was in high school, and right, that's just not right. Talk to me a little bit about maybe some of the conversations you have with other folks, and maybe even with yourself, about knowing your lane and not trying to compare yourself to folks that have been doing this for X number of years.
Man, that's crazy because like literally last weekend I was having lunch with a friend and she was just like, "You're so good. Your videos, like I see how you present things on video. You're so good at it." And I'm like, "Katie, I've been talking on a mic for 6 years. I hope that 6 or 7 years later that I didn't just wake up, roll out of bed one morning and was able to deliver things on video just like that. Like I've been putting in reps. If y'all hear some of my first couple appearances on the podcast, you'll be listening like, oh, did Eden even talk? Did she even get a word in? Like, because I was scared. I maybe started out just saying one or two sentences that I felt really strongly about, because for a little bit of perspective, the podcast that I got started on always had a minimum of 4 people, sometimes had up to 8 people on it. Very chaotic show, a lot of people trying to get timing right, and it takes work to work with that many people on a show. So when I first started, I was like, oh, I don't know where my place is in this show. So I would just be like, oh, I have something to say. I have something to add. And that's how my first couple of shows went. Not first couple, first 10, first 12, first 20 maybe.
Wow.
It wasn't until maybe like, 20 is a lot, maybe more like 5 or 6 shows I got comfortable with it. I'm being a little bit, I may be exaggerating a little bit, but it took time though. It took practice. It took time. And it took me, listening back to those first few appearances of mine were painful for me because I was so disappointed in myself. But I had to listen in order to know how to get better. You have to watch the tape. 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 You got to give yourself feedback. Ask your friends for feedback. Ask people that are willing to give you constructive, actual criticism for feedback. And that's how you grow. Like, I talked to my producer at the time.
Yeah.
I talked to my other co-hosts at the time. I was like, hey, my mentors in sports media, in sports radio, I was like, yo, could you just give me a few pointers? And all of them were really gracious with me. I got a lot of good feedback, really constructive stuff. Was it hard to hear some of it? Yeah, it was. And implementing feedback is also easier said than done a lot of the time. Believe in yourself and just go out there and trust that your stuff can be a lot easier said than done. But you get there by, I really believe in reps, man. I grew up playing sports. I don't shoot like 80% from that left-hand mid-range baseline jumper because I only shot, once or twice a week. I go out there and I was shooting hours every single day because I was obsessed with putting the ball in the hoop. And I genuinely feel like that applies to everything else.
Come on. I know I always use sports analogies, so I'm over here smiling like a proud uncle because you hear someone else use a lot of sports analogies. I want to back up because I don't want that to get overshadow what you were saying as well about having support system, having an inner circle, having a cohort, whatever you want to call it, but having someone that will either call you, text you, reach out to you and say, hey, Eden, you might want to tighten this up. Those thumbnails there. So I'm actually going through a specific situation that I went through. I'm not sure if he's watching, but he's in the eCam community as well. Shouts out to my guy, JP High Tech. About 3 years ago. Listen, JP, I did a show. I had a great stream with some folks. he hit me up about 11:30 at night. He said, James, your content amazing. What you're doing is cool, but you're gonna have to tighten up those thumbnails and those overlays because I was getting to that point to where again I was starting to have some folks actually listening and paying attention, and he gave me that positive, that constructive feedback and said, "All right, you got the message right. Now let's get to this point to where you look the part." So, and I swear to you, it was 11:30 at night. I still remember this. I stayed up until 1 o'clock. And I was deep. I was using Canva at that time. I was deep in Canva, and that whole time updating my skills, improving on the feedback, and taking heed to that, and not being hesitant to that. I wish more and more folks would do exactly what you were saying. Have that circle around them of folks that they can trust to not just tell them it's good all the time, not just tell them that you're the best and all that, not just have yes men and yes women around them, but someone that can say, Eden, hey, tighten that up a little bit, you're gonna be all right. Move the camera, say this instead of say that. You say ums a lot, all those things. Talk to me. Let's keep going down that path, and then if anyone in the comments can relate to that, I would love to hear that.
So on that note, I'd also say, you're not just going to magically have a circle appear around you that's going to give
Mm,
you constructive feedback.
yeah.
You have to ask for it. You have to find people that understand what you're trying to do and reach out to them though. Like it's really cool that JP, reached out to you without, of his own volition, but like sometimes you got to be the first one to reach out to ask for feedback. You can't be scared to ask for feedback
Yeah.
actually. Feedback is scary. So like, but we need it. We all need it. Everyone could use constructive criticism, but you have to create that circle of people that can give you feedback and help you grow. And
Hmm.
that circle might change throughout the years as your content grows and evolves. Like things don't always have to stay the same, but it's got to start with, I think it has to start with you reaching out to others and asking, because
Yeah.
people aren't going to find some people, even people that know you, that follow. If, for example, like we're on YouTube right now, if they're not people that actually consume videos on YouTube that much, they're like, oh, my friend's doing something cool, but like it's not really my vibe. It's not really for me necessarily. But if you have someone that can give you really meaningful feedback, even if it's not something that is a part of their normal content consumption, I bet if you reach out and just ask, you're like, hey, I know like you don't really listen to podcasts, but like it would really mean a lot for me if you just like check
That's a
this
good
out and
point.
just let me know what you think. Like
That's
it's
a good point.
okay. It's okay to ask, like, which I think is harder also said.
It,
It's easier
it,
said
it
than
is,
done.
right? Because we want to do it alone a lot of times. We think we can do it
Yes.
alone, but it's all about community. It really listen. I'm the last person to be talking about community. Listen, I I don't like people. I, and here I am, live streaming and doing the thing and coaching and all that. But I keep the circle close. Let me just put it that way. I keep the circle close. And there's friends, there's acquaintances, there's family. There's multiple iterations. But I am open to conversation. I'm open to feedback, open to criticism. And if you open yourself up to that, then I think there's more positives than there are negatives to that. So yeah, don't do like me. Be like Eden and not like me. Like people, so you can do all the good stuff in life. But that's such a good.
I just pretend to like people.
I do too. I
Yeah.
told you. Listen, I told you. I'm gonna be the Morgan Freeman dude when I get a couple more years under me. The get off my lawn, kids. That kind of guy. That's who I'm gonna be. So, hey, Brusco, you didn't. He didn't. Did not respond and say if I could use that. I see you in the comments quite a bit. Hey, but I need to know so that I can use this statement. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that. Okay. So, uh, let me ask you this. We've got feedback, we've got constructive criticism, we've got folks around us, we've kind of gotten out of our own way. Now we're going to go out there and do the thing. Right now we're going to go out there and do the thing, and now the world is open back up. So we were talking about conferences, we were talking about stuff that's happening across the creator ecosystem. When you pack your bag and you go hit the streets, what are you taking with you? What are you taking with you to actually tell stories and to actually engage with folks around you at a particular event? Let's say what we got. We just had CES, but we got NAP coming up. We got South by Southwest coming up. I think we got the Vid Summits and the VidCons coming up. If you were going to one of those types of events, well, Podfest, I think some of the folks are down in Florida right now for Podcast Movement and Podfest. What would you take with you to go out and we've set it up, right? We've got out our own way. We've got our information around us. We got our community, and now we're going to go out there and actually turn the lights on and press record. What's in your bag?
If I'm being honest, I think I'm going
What you bring
with,
to play?
well, I'm going to bring my phone. I might bring my extra phone that has better video. And I think I'm going to bring my Rode Wireless Pro for audio.
Mm-hmm.
But that might be it. I think I'm going to try to go for, I have to start somewhere. And because of some of the things we already talked about, I don't think that I'm ready to bust out with the cage with all the moving parts. I don't think I'm ready for that. I think I got to start, because honestly, creating content at conferences, in IRL content, on the go content, it is pretty new to me. And I don't want to set myself a bar so high that when it comes to go time that I'm just like, oh God, I can't do this. Or, so I like to set achievable goals. I know that I can go out there and just film stuff with my phone and with good audio, because I started in podcasting. Audio means everything. So got to have a wireless mic set. That's non-negotiable.
True.
But yeah, I think I'm going to try to just start with the phone first, because I know that that's achievable. There's no excuse, actually, is what I would say. There's no excuse there. There's excuses if I bring a bigger camera and I'm like, oh, something didn't go right. Oh, I forgot a cable. Oh, this is not going as planned. Excuses. But if I keep it simple, I can't make up excuses.
See, and we haven't even talked about the company line that she's talking about. So she's not even making a company pitch right now. We're not mentioning anything, but right, just go with what you got. Everyone's already got $1,000 phone/video camera in their pocket. Just take that and maybe some software to run that. We can talk about that at another time as well. But that's cool. I saw my man.
What about you?
I was gonna say I saw my man Bruce talking about CES. I took this thing right here, my DJI Osmo, the new Osmo. I took that. That was my primary camera, and these right here, these Ray-Ban Metas. I was live streaming with these. Yeah, that was it, and my phone as well. I took none of these cameras that I have in this room with me. Saved my back tremendously. So this was my 12th year at CES. So I would say,
oh my God,
I'm old school, man. I'm OG, right?
You're a legend, is what I'm hearing.
I remember. So back in the day, I would take all the tripods, all the rigs, all the stuff, but it was brutal, right? So this time, finally, again, after 12 years of hard-working learning, very minimal, very strategic, knowing what I'm going to focus on and go talk to. So again, took the microphones. So I took my Shure microphones. I took that DJI Osmo and these glasses. And this is how I walked up and down all of downtown Las Vegas, capturing content. And it really, I think it resonated on a different level because folks got to see a little bit of behind the scenes as opposed to, again, those staged shots. So I did more action shots, and I did more walking up and down the conference floors, that kind of thing. So that resonated with a lot of the community as well. So I was real happy with that. But again, very light in terms of all the gear, because that didn't matter. What mattered was putting out the information as quickly as I possibly could to the folks that wanted to consume it. So
that's exactly what I wanted to add, is that sometimes, yes, we want to put out something nice and polished, but people that are following along you or Stephanie Liu's like CES journey, they just want to see the cool stuff that y'all are seeing. They don't need it to be edited. They just want to see like what's going on. They want to be a part of it. They want to follow along because, everyone, CES is the coolest event. Like it's about getting to serve your audience in real time. Everyone can read the articles 3 days later. Everyone can read up on CES recaps 3 days later. It's about getting to experience what you're experiencing. And I also really like the element that you added, that of the more like walking around videos. Those videos work really well on social because they feel real. They feel
Yeah,
like they are there with you. It doesn't feel like they're there with you if you take that back and edit it into with a bunch of cool effects and put it into, 1920 by 1080. Like, that's not the real life experience anymore. The real life experience is the phone. Like,
it is.
that's how we see the world a lot of the time these days. And I do think it creates like a very organic, genuine connection with the audience when the footage is so raw and real in real time.
Yeah, I agree, and I see the comments here in the dialogue here. I'll make sure that she answers. You didn't answer my ask was question. I didn't see it. I'm gonna look
Oh,
for it. I'm
no, that's my friend Ike. He's clowning. He's clowning right now.
okay. Okay. Oh, we got some hecklers in the building. Where my moderators at? Where my moderators at? And
No, that's my guy though. That's my
okay.
guy actually. Yeah.
And I see Anthony talking about he's talking about me. Get closer to the mic. I told you, man. I move, man. I'm up here moving and shaking. So
Me
I bounce
too.
back and forth. I'll get back up on it though. You brought up something about the format of the content that you see folks creating, and I think this may be a generational thing. So I don't know. Maybe let me ask you about this: the attention span of folks online on social 30, 60, 90 seconds, swiping left and swiping right, creating reels, creating shorts. Where do you see, do you prefer any of those micro content, micro bits of content, things of that nature? And do you see that going in further in the future, or what are your thoughts on just that short attention span, especially of folks online?
So because I'm, like I said, I'm a geriatric millennial. I am a little
Hilarious.
bit on the old side for like the TikTok. I'm jokingly calling it the TikTok because that's what someone out of touch would say, right? I enjoy actually people's Instagram stories because they are unedited. Instagram stories are often more just like, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. I also enjoy posting those. The TikToks I think are can be really fun and can be really educational actually, but it's actually not my preferred choice of content consumption. I have friends that say that they will just sit there and scroll TikTok for hours and hours and hours. I honestly can't do that. Like, it's not how I choose to consume content. Can I appreciate it? Yes.
Mhm.
But if I'm trying to learn something, for example, I have actually learned a lot from skincare TikTok. It's really helped my skin improve. Um, and so I guess I fall somewhere in the middle. It's cool to see these little bite-sized videos to get to where I want, but I had to watch a bunch of those little videos along with a bunch of those little videos that didn't actually apply to me over a really long time before I got to the full information that actually served me in the end.
Got you. Got you. TikTok is weird though. So I literally just yesterday got access or approved for live streaming on TikTok. I don't know what that means because again I'm old school. I don't know the algorithm. Every time I log on, I don't know what I'm looking at half the time. Maybe I need someone like my boy, Chris Stone in the building, right? He's a master at all things social media. Maybe I need someone like him to help me with that. But I'm gonna take advantage of it because I got a shop out there on TikTok as also on Instagram and things like that. So come on now, we out there.
Oh, so am I gonna see you doing some TikTok selling? Because
Listen.
I hear that's the hot stuff these days. I hear it's all
I,
about TikTok selling.
well, maybe so. If we get enough likes or something, I'm not going to bait anybody in this, like this video, and I'll do a TikTok shop. No, but again, I guess it's interesting because I do see engagement on that side. I do see a good deal of the community going there. I think, and again, because it's that 30, 60, 90 second kind of that shorter attention span or that quick consumption, just wondering how it fits into my workflow. And where I wanted to take it with that bit of discussion is, which platforms do you see yourself resonating with? Are you trying to be on all the platforms, or are you leaning into any platforms in particular? Right? Are you on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram and on Snapchats of the world? Where does Eden Lucy herself communicating with her community at?
So I'll be perfectly honest. My social media poison of choice is Instagram. Very appropriate for the geriatric millennial mindset. I will just admit it. I still appreciate a still photo. I appreciate a still photo, James. I
Hey,
appreciate
I
a
ain't
still
mad at you.
photo.
Let me say, hey, I ain't mad at you. Boom. I'm gonna put you on blast.
Oh,
There she go.
that's
Pikachu
me.
Lou, y'all. Pikachu Lou.
Yeah. But I just feel like because in a sense, so I think Instagram, I got on Instagram in 2010. I've been there for most of the iterations of it. It's like in some ways, I feel like it has been the easiest platform to evolve with because they've made changes sort of like one step at a time.
Mm,
I got into Snap for a hot minute, but it really wasn't for me. Just kind of, it wasn't for me. I tried it. It wasn't for me. Twitter was cool for a while, especially when I was doing the basketball podcast. But I'm not going to lie. After they made some big structural changes, some things really fell off for me when it came
hmm
to Twitter. Like Twitter used to be my go to place for news and just everything. Like I had my feed pretty well, um, not calibrated, but uh, chor- choreographed, whatever, put
Yeah.
together.
You had your
I had my
tags and
feed.
your
Yeah.
hashtags and everything, right? Because that's where it all started from anyway. So,
And then that all fell apart and it's fine. Sometimes that happens. And so, we have to adapt and adjust with the times. So Instagram, I feel the most comfortable with. Am I interested in maybe dabbling in TikTok? Yes.
mm,
But it's a mixed bag. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm not quite sure how I feel. I think I would kind of want to focus on YouTube and Instagram. I think YouTube and Instagram are like where I feel the most comfortable and the most like I know I can be consistent. I know I can show up. Oh, and Twitch. I will also say Twitch. I actually do enjoy streaming on Twitch.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
which is pretty new to me actually. Actually, until I went to TwitchCon last year, I was like, I don't know. I don't know about Twitch. Like they say things like poggers. I'm like, what does poggers mean? I'm too old to know what poggers means. It just means really good, cool. It's like a thumbs up. Yeah. So I was a little intimidated, but honestly, after going to TwitchCon, which was like actually a much more creator heavy experience than I expected it to be,
Mm,
it really like opened up my eyes and I was like, I think that even though I'm not a serious gamer, like or actually I used to be. I used to go to major league gaming tournaments, but that was back in the Halo 2 days and that's maybe a story for another
you
time.
down with the
But
esports? Come on now, you.
yeah, but yeah, so I Twitch I have had fun dabbling in.
Okay.
But I think my focus like main focus would still be Instagram and YouTube. And maybe that shows my age a little bit.
No, I mean that makes sense, and folks chime in the comments there your thoughts on these platforms as well, because that's going to give me two questions, and then I'll end on those two questions. Billy Thorpe, see you in the building, man. Appreciate you for being here. Your poggers sound Harry Potterish. You mentioned Instagram. Talk to me about Threads. Help me again. Help the old school cat try to figure out Threads. I was listening to Nikki Saunders. Shouts out to her as well the other day, and she's saying, "Yeah, Threads is becoming much and more of a primary platform for her." And I'm trying to get the breakdown, the differentiation between Instagram itself and Threads. And do you have an answer for that?
I mean, I can share my experience with it. I don't know
Okay,
that I have answers for you, but I
help
do
me out.
know.
Help me to help me.
So I would say right now, I think Threads still has a little bit ways to go for me. Like
Mm,
when I go onto Threads, sometimes it's not really showing me the content that I feel like is relevant to me. I think they kind of just push out content in general. I don't think that it's heavily curated. Curate is the word I was looking for
there you
earlier,
go.
by the way.
Okay.
Is I don't think that it's heavily curated per user, but like by each user yet. And maybe that has to do with the fact that I also haven't used it that much to train it because algorithms are all about training.
Truth.
Love to hear when people like complain about algorithms and I'm like, you could just train it, right? You can take action to make the algorithm show you other stuff if you're not liking what you're seeing, right? So maybe I need
Definitely.
to listen to myself when it comes to that. But I I I feel like there's a little bit more work for them to do in that regard until they will get to the point where you can easily curate a timeline of things that you want to see. Because right now, I'm gonna be honest, it's still showing me too much stuff that I'm like,
Yeah.
honestly, this person is really annoying. I don't know why you showed this to me. And it actually makes me want to close out threads. And you can't mute people either yet, as far as I know. So I'm
Man.
like, I can't even take people off of my feed. I can't even
See,
get threads to stop showing me people that I don't want to see stuff from.
right,
So
that's why Eden and I get along right there, right? So I'm
we
just
don't
trying
like
to
we don't
just
like
put you
people. Yeah,
in a 30-day mute, just a timeout. Um,
exactly.
so let me ask this, and again, this was one of the questions that I had, and again, back to our kind of our title, and it's about social networks and things of that nature. And you started talking about it when you mentioned Twitter. I'll never call it X; it's always be Twitter to me.
Twitter. Yeah.
Um, this whole concept of paying for social media, right? Paying for access, these premium versions of Twitter, uh, paying for verification on Instagram and Facebook and Meta and things like that. What are your thoughts on that? I'm gonna give mine after you, but I would love to hear yours, and I also love to hear folks in the audience as well.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
Come on,
Yeah,
let's dig into it.
if I'm being honest,
We got Sammy on the line, so now you got to get
yo,
into it,
Sammy,
right?
what's
Because Sammy
up?
gonna want to know some explanation. So let's talk about that.
So I actually think that when Twitter allowed people to pay for verification, that was the downfall of the platform for me. That moment where anyone can have a blue check mark by their name if they want to pay $4.99 or $8.99 a month, whatever the fee is, instantly made the platform not credible anymore. You don't know who is actually credible. If anyone can have a blue check, none of the blue checks mean anything. That's how I see it. Like, I know that might be harsh, but I'm like, if you can pay $4.99 to have a blue check, all of the blue checks might as well not even exist. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, I'm all for apps trying to monetize, finding ways to monetize, but like
Yes.
paying for verification ain't it. It's
Yeah.
just not. It ain't it.
That's literally exactly where I drew the line. Right. Again, I make a statement as well about people pay attention to what they pay for. Right. So I am, and every time I have a conversation with a founder of a software company or anything, or an app or something of that nature, and they want to give it to us free, like what's your monetization strategy? Is it typically what I ask? Because again, if you're in business, you're in it to make money. You're in it to make money, and consumers will pay for value. So we will pay for value, especially for applications, hardware, software, services, and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
when this particular platform, when Twitter started charging folks for verification and for status, that's where it everything started going awry again, in my perspective. I think it's still a decent water cooler conversation location.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's still that right there. And I still get a good majority of my news and my information from all sides, all, left, right, and center, that kind of thing. But again, just by allowing someone to pay $4.99 and then say that they're verified, that's just where the platform just started to go in different ways. Elon's a little crazy as well. But,
Oh, really? Is he? Wow.
but
You go on.
I ain't gonna talk too bad about him. I drive the man's car, so I ain't gonna talk too bad about him. I don't want him to shut me down. But yeah, he do need to sit down though. But that's my perspective as well. Just that kind of thing. I will pay for value, and I pay attention to what I pay for. But again, it's just the framework and the framing of what that $4.99, eight, whatever it is now, right,
Yeah.
for the premium thing. Even on the Instagram side, and even on the Facebook side, I'm not giving Mark Zuckerberg $14.99 a month just to have a blue check mark by my thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chris is
Like I
saying is
said,
nothing is free,
I'm
even
right there
time
with you.
costs. I love that.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Chris is saying totally agree. I see no reason why to give that blue check mark. There you go. Keep
You
your
know,
$4.99 in your pocket, man.
the
There you
wild
go.
thing about the blue checks is I feel like, at least on my feed, it was the second they released that, it was the people that were the least credible that purchased
Yeah.
that blue check first. And I was just like, this is where it all falls
There
apart.
we go. There you go. Neil is out here said, Threads drives him crazy. He's gonna stick to
Twitter.
come on,
He's going to
call
stick
it
to
Twitter,
Twitter
man.
and
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call it Twitter, man. Come on, stay with us. Don't try to be too new school. Aiden, this was amazing. So is here, and I'm thinking outside in my head right now. I keep using this analogy, and I got to stop using this analogy. Kind of like a drug dealer, crack dealer. We gave people a little bit. Now they're gonna want to come back for some more, right? They're gonna want to come back for this Eden and James show, hopefully, because just this dialogue and specifically around just the conversation. So we started with the premise of, again, getting out of your own way, the power of a creative mindset, and I hope that people understand and see kind of the story and the circle that we took folks in, right? Being out there, having a message to say, knowing that you don't have to have all of the latest things. Just don't worry about the production, don't worry about the message. Be open to conversation, be open to criticism and feedback and things of that nature. And then where your message resonates. There was method to the madness, folks, in terms of where we went in this conversation. And I believe it resonated with folks here in the comments. Tell folks in closing kind of what's next for you. Let's look at short and midterm, 3 to 6 months, in terms of where folks can expect to see Eden Lou, what you can be doing as it relates to this content creation ecosystem.
Well, I hope you guys will follow along and hold me accountable. If you don't see me post a yoga video where I fall out of a forearm stand and curse in front of the camera, call me out on it. I should be doing more. I should be doing more content, and I should be branching out my styles of content. I want to keep growing. And part of it is going to be doing content with you when I see you at NAB. We're going to do some, we're going to do some really organic shot on iPhone, instant takes, instantly. This is something cool that we saw. We're going to talk about it right then and there. And we're going to post it right then and there. We're not going to sit there. Eden's not going to get to do her 8 takes. James is not going to let Eden do 8 takes. So yeah.
No. You're gonna bring your skateboard. I'm gonna bring some kind of ball, either football, basketball, whatever, baseball. I'm a baseball person. So we're gonna figure something out, and it's gonna be a friendly competition amongst us. We're gonna try to meet and match Joel Embiid 70 points in a game of horse. We're gonna figure something out. It's not just
right. Back-to-back MVP Joel Embiid, I think is what you meant.
She's not biased. She's not biased or nothing like that. Okay. Tell the folks, I'm going to put them in the description as well for folks that are going to catch the replay. And shouts out, again, this is one of the first times that I've been streaming on Twitter. I see some folks out there, so appreciate you for being there. Y'all could have left some comments now. We have the technology.
Comments. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's all good.
We've been talking to people in the chat all show.
Come over to YouTube or leave some comments over there on Twitter. Like I said, I'm gonna leave your contact information in the description, but tell that the primary platform where you want folks to reach out to you. Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter? Is it Twitch? Is it LinkedIn? That kind of thing?
I would say Instagram and LinkedIn, actually. LinkedIn, I forgot. Maybe LinkedIn's a whole nother conversation we need to have maybe that's our next show. But actually, I do want to put a lot more effort into LinkedIn as well. I think I just kind of forgot about it earlier. But yeah, LinkedIn, I'm very active on, and Instagram, I'll be active on. And Twitch, I'm not Pikachu Lou on LinkedIn because that's a little bit more of a professional platform. But if you search Eden Lou at Camo Reincubate, you'll find me. But Pikachu Lou across platforms, really, and say hi. Just leave me a comment. I'd love to engage. I am on social media platforms to engage with people, not to just share what I'm doing. So
wow, there it is. There's a word right there. Oh my God, that's perfect way to end. You're awesome. You're
awesome.
Let me give you these flowers, man. You really are good people, and appreciate you again for taking the time to have this conversation. You knew I was crazy, right? So you knew I was probably going to take the conversation a whole bunch of different ways, but again, at the end of the day, it worked out, and we had a great dialogue. And it looks like, again, from the folks that joined and engaged, that they found some value as well. Really, no, I'm not streaming on Twitch, man. She is. I've tried it as well. I can't get it, man. I'm sorry. Maybe one of these days I'll get it. But Eden Lou, folks, y'all better follow her. All right, we out.